I think the main thing is that that refining margins have looked up in Singapore, so that has, I think, led to a rally in the stock. But I would look for more concrete, what do you call, reversal of the earnings, or some of the investments they are thinking, how exactly that those big investments are shaping up. So I would remain on the sidelines till we get some clarity. But there are times when large companies, I mean, these are clear leader, and one will always have what you call doubts about what they can do. When you look back 10 years and what they can do in next 10 years, I think is just staggering.
So what's been your portfolio strategy? Are you shopping or are you hunting for new ideas?
So looking for new ideas is a continuous affair. You keep reading balance sheets, whatever your things are happening. So that's always a continuous affair. But when you see the kind of I mean, just like appointment of Raghunath Rajan and all. So it gives a lot of confidence. Mr. Chidambaram is back. Rajan is going to be chief economic advisor. But will they be able to make this government move to do things? So those are the kind of things which come to mind. And so I'm very cautious in terms of what new stock to buy. I would rather be happy buying more of what I have, rather than looking for a completely new name.
Ramdev, every time we've interacted with you on this forum, and I've been interacting with you for the last 10 years now, You've always said that the size of the opportunity is what differentiates a good business from a bad business. So at the current juncture, which is 2012, which are the 3 businesses where you're reasonably confident of the size of the opportunity?
The size of the opportunity for all the businesses are, very, very big, because currently our income is $1,200-$1,300 per capita. So consumption levels of whether it is infrastructure, whether it is power, whether it is consumer items, whether it is a Maggi noodle or a soap or liquor or cigarettes. I mean, everything is very low. I mean, there is a huge opportunity for mortgages, for banks. Whatever is well run, I think the opportunity is very, very large. The issue is that is the external environment, conducive for making money, and whether the company is geared up to win over that particular environment and put their head down and keep making money. So you need those kind of managements who, despite whatever is happening outside, they are able to put their house in order and keep making money. And that's where I say that if in your P&L or balance sheet there's too much of government interaction, I think you will have a big problem in India.
Ramdev, do you think the market may correct from here on if the government does not deliver soon? Or do you think, irrespective of what the government does, the market is going to go on because there is liquidity available?
It's very tough to say what will happen, and to take for granted that government will do nothing for a very long time is also a probably wrong assumption. But I think we are much more globalized, and problems are not only within the country. So the situation is much more complex, and I think one of the worst sufferer would be the rupee dollar, in the sense that levels of rupee which is there, because despite so much of correction in the commodity prices and gold imports down, still our forex balances, and they have opened up NRI balances and all, but still the forex balance is at 250, 289, 288. So it is holding out at a just a critical level. So my sense is turning around that permanent confidently will be an issue, and that will show the way for maybe some kind of revival in the market. But I don't know what all it will take to turn that around, but things are quite challenging at this juncture.
Ramdev, let me rephrase my next question in the Buffett way. Which are 3 stocks which you plan to buy and you don't want to revisit them for next 5 years? Stocks you want to, let's say, buy, put it in a demat, and you want to only revisit them after 5 years.
Most of the stocks which are consumer facing today, say you buy Nestle, you buy HDFC Bank, you buy, I mean, whatever I bought, say whether I have bought a Can India or whether I have bought, any, say ITC we have bought. So we have not bought it to revisit in, we have not bought it to revisit in next 2-3 years, 4 years. I mean, till things go wrong, we will kind of hold it.
When you have invested in these stocks, how do you plan the exit? Because it's important to plan the entry, but it's also important to map the earnings, the growth, and then the exit strategy.
Yeah, so exit is not planned in the sense that we'll keep holding on for 5, 10, 15 years, 20 years till the company is managed well and business is exploited. The competitive situation remains. I think the main thing is that competitive structure of the company and the business remains as healthy as it is today. So look at ITC. If ITC is 78, 79% market share in cigarettes, I think that can be, it is very difficult to change that. I mean, the only competition is from Godfrey Phillips, which is about 12, 13%. So it's literally a monopolist. Or you look at, say, Nestle. I mean, in processed food, they are the most respected. We consume so little of what you call processed food or processed milk that the consumption which is likely to explode is going to last for decades. Forget about years. But then at some point of time, if company gets into some kind of a management problem or some regulatory issues, or government says that you cannot make money for some reason, so then you have to change your stand and kind of get out. But I don't think I have in mind when should I get out or things like that.
Ramdev, you just talked about Ken. Is Rahul Dhir's exit not a cause of concern because the market hasn't quite digested the news well?
Yeah. I think he is a founder and very respected, kind of manager who brought the company so far. But company's story is always, bigger than a person's story. So, the oil find in Rajasthan and the kind of dollar asset which is sitting in Rajasthan and unexploited completely, and just about 1.5, 2 years old kind of a producing field, very prolific. My sense is that it has. It could have tremendous potential going forward, and then what you do with the cash flow which comes in. I mean, you're talking about 12, 13, 14,000 crores of cash flow yearly, and what you do with that cash flow over a period of time. I think, I mean, today you buy it for 60, 65,000 crores. Most likely in next 5 years they'll be able to throw that kind of money onto the table. So obviously management and the company is going to do something much bigger than what they have right now, in form of exploiting the current assets or maybe get some other assets into their bag. So one hopes that at 5, 6, 7 P multiple, it's a reasonably good buy.
Ramdev, the names which you mentioned, let's say ITC, Nestle, these are consumer names. These are good businesses. These businesses normally do well when market conditions are tough and market conditions are choppy. But which to your mind are some companies or some businesses which are going through a cyclical downturn? Value has emerged, and whenever things will stabilize, these businesses or these companies will become eventual winners.
Unfortunately, I have not. I think automotive or public sector banks, high quality public sector banks, your automotive, if it cracks, I mean, they will be terrific opportunities because they are, particularly automotive. Their economics remain good. They are suffering only from high interest rate or slowdown in the economy. But eventually, they have to become much bigger, and whatever pessimism we have in domestic automotive, because there are only 5, 6 companies which are catering to the automotive demand, whether it is 4-wheeler or 2-wheeler. I mean, on 2-wheeler side you have Hero and Bajaj, TVS, and on the 4-wheeler side you have Maruti, Telco, Mahindra & Mahindra, and Eicher, and Ashok Leyland. So you don't have, of course in car you have a lot of competition, but broadly the size of opportunity is very large.
Ramdev, will you ever go close to an aviation stock? You travel much more than me and you know how expensive air tickets are.
No, I don't think I will even think about looking at it, irrespective of the fact that the kind of pessimism and the kind of bad times they have gone through, they deserve to get much better treatment and much better opportunity in the days to come. Because it's such an essential part of any economy, any country, that the economics must provide a platform whereby they survive and at least keep running the show. Because without airlines you just can't do it, and government also cannot run. We know what is the shape of Air India. So clearly there will be some respite and that will allow them to survive a little longer. But I don't want to be party to, out of 10 years, 7 years bad and 2-3 years good. That kind of story I don't like.
Ramdev, a Delhi business class air ticket is costing 70,000 rupees. So talk about pricing power. It's there for some of these airline companies.
Yeah, despite they make losses. So what is the use of that pricing power where, and I think it has become more academic, the 70,000 rupees and all, a few seats here and there. And I don't know whether they get sold at all. So at the end of it, you saw the result for June quarter for, most of the airlines. Kingfisher, you saw what has happened. I mean, just few years of, aviation venture by one of the most, cash-rich kind of a group where they have reached. So I don't want to get destroyed like this by bringing any aviation stock in my portfolio.
Which is a good brokerage stock to buy. I will not ask you on Motilal Oswal financials.
No,
you understand the business, so you understand it much more than anyone else. As an investor, if Ramdev Agarwal has to ever buy a brokerage stock apart from Motilal Oswal, which one will he buy?
I have never applied my mind because my portfolio is so overloaded with the brokerage stock of my own company that I didn't bother. And because there are very few pure play brokerage, I mean, most of them have become NBFCs or banks or insurance reagents and things like that. So there are 2-3 brokerage stocks which are pure play, and my portfolio is overloaded with that. So I don't have to spend time trying to figure out.
Okay, Ramdev, good to have you on the show as always. Thanks for taking time out and joining again. Still looking very quiet for the markets. 53.27 is where the index is. The broader markets relatively better. Let's tell you what the brokerages are saying then this Monday morning. And CLSA has maintained an underperformed rating on RCOM and has cut the price target to 57 from the earlier 95 rupees. They have cut the FY 13 and 14 revenue and EBITDA forecast by 3 to 9%. They continue to be uncomfortable with RCOM's high leverage. Morgan Stanley has retained their underweight main time rating on SBI and has cut the price target from 14.25 to 13.90 rupees per share. The brokerage says that given the weak balance sheet and profitability due to lower NIMs and high NPAs and wage hikes in the second half of the fiscal, Morgan Stanley expects the material deterioration in profitability in the future quarters ahead. Okay, Ashwini, your closing thoughts, how we've traded up until now, and of course your trading ideas.
The market is in a very narrow range, and still there is a positive bias. Some sectors are doing well. So cement is one of them. Ultratech Cement is a buy with a stop about 1670, target of 1750. BPCL is a buy with a stop about 350, target of 375. And Educom is a sell with a stop about 161, target of 148.
Hello Ashwini, thank you for those trading ideas. That's it on this edition of First Trades. It's goodbye from Aisha and me. Thank you for watching the show and have a great day ahead.